Okay, so welcome again, my friends. I'm Jason, and I teach meditation every Tuesday and Thursday at 6:25 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, if you're new to this practice, you could tune in. The recap should be going on all day, and then there'll actually be a stream that is uploaded to YouTube pretty much right after the videos. So, if you're watching from YouTube, please make sure that you hit the like button, subscribe, leave any comments. I am more than happy to answer any comments, questions, suggestions, and I'm looking forward to continuing to working with all of you. So, as was stated, and the reason to tune in for the entire session is because as you allow yourself to tune in, um, these practices, they actually become more effective. So initially, if you think, maybe tune in for a minute or so, if you can increase that to 2 minutes, that'd be great. If you can increase it to 5, 15, 20, you'll start to notice how these practices start to retrain the mind. So, as was promised for today, we're actually going to have a new practice. And this practice is going to be an introduction to Zazen. So, if you're unfamiliar, Zazen is actually a tradition of sitting that came out of Japan. As Buddhism moved across Asia, the practice was adopted, I believe, first by China and then later by Japan. And the practice is one of sitting and to watch. So it's very similar to mindfulness practice, but somewhat different techniques. And depending on the traditions and where you practice, it can vary somewhat. So ideally, you want to come to a comfortable seated position. So in this seated position, they often, you know, kind of let you know that you want to sit in a way that your spine is upright. So when you sit, oftentimes we sit like a slouch back, and even during long sitting periods of meditation, we tend to slouch down, maybe our chin slouches down, and this is what can tend to cause some difficulties. So when you sit, whether you sit as I'm sitting, you want spine to be lifted, you want the chest to be broad, elbows are slightly back towards the chest, and this helps to keep a broad chest. And then the shoulder blades move into the center chest. Chin moves back. This is very similar to Virasana in the yogic practice. And then my hands are in this mudra, which mudra is just being a kind of like a symbol for practice. So in this mudra, I have my left hand. It may be in reverse on the camera, but my left hand is placed underneath my right hand, and then I bring my two fingers together. And this is a symbol of really closing the gap, or closing the attention. So the hands are actually right at the base of the abdomen, and the breath is natural. So for today's practice, we're going to learn the beginning of the breath. So the breathing in this practice is also somewhat different to some of the other techniques that we've worked with. And in this breathing technique, the attention should remain in this area of the abdomen. So the abdomen is often referred to as the tan dien, and this being really the source of energy. Throughout Asia, once again, these practices are based in this region, the abdominal region. And really, I think the significance of that is it helps to keep our attention in a centered position. So our mind, if we think about it from our anatomical position of our body is towards the sky. We think about it, our feet are towards the earth, and then when you focus on this region from the base of the abdomen right here, and the expansion is really outward and then inward. So a breath might look like this. So when I breathe in, it might be, and when I breathe out, it would be. To breathe in, so at first, this breathing technique may be somewhat of a challenge because we're not typically used to breathing in the abdominal region. However, if this practice is done diligently, persistently, again and again, you'll find that the breath in this region actually helps to create a stability between the mind and between the earth. So, as we continue to work together through today's practice, um, the intention is not necessarily, you know, am I doing this right or is this the right way? It will develop over time. So at first, what's most important is that your attention remains in this region. And at first, the breath may be very shallow. It might be, and as time moves on, it may eventually increase. Now, with the focus, this is a little bit different as well. The focus, if possible, should remain at the tip of the nostrils, really right in, maybe even right in front of you, but you're not gazing at anything in particular. Your eyes are almost of a glass-like uh, glass-like gaze, I would say, and but because you want to keep your attention inward the entire time. So even if, for instance, your eyes are on the cell phone or on the computer screen, as you're working with today's work, let the attention be in the base of the abdomen. So as you keep your attention in the base of the abdomen, you'll find that eventually over time the attention will become very focused in this region. Now, as for thoughts, and obviously throughout this practice, there may be many thoughts, many different things. Am I doing it correctly? My mind is distracted, past, present, future. See if you can keep the attention in this region. So if thoughts are pulling you one direction or the other direction, it's okay. The idea is over time, just like riding a bicycle. Initially, maybe you don't remember, but there is many challenges at the very beginning of this process. And as you continue to move or keep your attention centered in this region, you will find that it will remain in this region, and throughout the day, it may remain in this region. So we're going to continue together for this practice. So attention is very glass-like, maybe right in front of the nostril tips with the eyes, but then with the breath, the attention should remain in the base of the abdomen. So together, we'll practice to start, and then we'll do the practice separately. So. And no hand gestures for you, just keeping the hands in this mudra. eyes should remain open. So if you're just tuning in, finding your way into a comfortable position, taking your hands into a very simple mudra, and then letting the eyes remain open for today's practice. We're doing Zazen for today. So breathing should be into the abdomen, starting at the base, moving outward, and then eventually the air comes to this point and it moves all the way down. And we'll explain at the end a little bit more about that. So breathing in and breathing out. I'll continue to hold this mudra with all of you. Shoulders back, spine erect, eyes soft, and breathing in the base of the abdomen. Spine erect. If the attention wavers at all, bring the attention back to this region. keeping the mind in the abdomen, inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Just continuing to let the air move gracefully from the base of the abdomen outward, and from the top of the abdomen downward. Over time, this breathing becomes longer, slower, naturally. And the mind eventually becomes very subtle, like the breath. At first, this process, it can be somewhat of a challenge, but as you continue to allow this expansion and contraction and expansion and contraction, as it continues to move downward, eventually the mind becomes very absorbed, very still. And this is truly the process of moving deeply within ourselves, moving deeply within our own awareness, inhaling, expanding from the abdomen, exhaling, letting the air softly leave. Keeping the hands in the mudra, letting the attention stay in the tandian, the space at the about an inch or two below the base of the navel. Eyes remain soft, gaze is right over the nose. And we do this eyes open so that our attention remains very relaxed, very still, very calm. The spine is erect the entire time, so at times the spine may lose its stability, its lift. Continuing to keep that lift. So that was our introduction to Zazen practice. And my name is Jason. So thank you for tuning in to today's practice. If you are watching through YouTube, please subscribe, press the like button, hit the bell if you'd like notifications, and please leave any comments that you have. The idea is to work continuously with these practices. As we work together, we build a community. And over time, what tends to happen is that our practice all becomes one. It's as if when we're all practicing, or when one's practicing, it compels another to practice. And this ability for us to practice is what allows for the mind to become very calm. Whatever your activities are, whatever your lifestyle is, wherever your life leads you, these practices, these can benefit all. So I hope that you all have an amazing day. I will ring this bell to close, not too loud, but and thank you so much for tuning in. So have a blessed day, be peaceful, be mindful, be Zazen. Thank you so much. Namaste. Thank you.